Okay. Well, welcome all and those who are joining us now. My name is Allan Roth, and the title of this class is Painless Music Theory for Ukes, Class 1. Today is May 6, 2024. And the first thing I want to do is tell you a little bit about what music theory is and why it's important. Basically, it tells you how music works. What are the materials and what are the structures of music? It'll help you be a better uke player because one of the things you'll learn to do is you'll learn how to build chords on the uke without having a chord chart. Now, we can all read chord charts, but what are you going to do if you don't have one? Or you learn a song in a key that's not on your chord chart or something like that. Another thing that it'll do is it'll help you recognize common chord patterns without a chord chart that are used in music over and over again. So you'll see these patterns in many songs and be able to apply them to other songs. It'll help you to figure out the melodies of songs you hear on the radio or songs that you know, how to figure out their melodies, how to figure out their harmonies, and how you can figure out how to play them on the uke without having the music, just by listening to them and by recognizing the melody, knowing what makes up melodies, what makes up harmonies, what type of structures there are between chords and that type of thing. And you'll be able to take advantage of this and learn songs, as I said, without having the music. You'll learn about different keys, different terminologies, different scales, concepts used in jams. For instance, if you're used to playing You Are My Sunshine in C, and somebody at the jam says, let's play You Are My Sunshine in F, you'll know what to do, as opposed to just sitting there, not being able to figure out what to do and maybe singing along, but not playing. The main thing is it will increase your confidence, your playing skills, and your enjoyment of the uke, doing it yourself and participating with other groups. Now, this group is for people with soprano ukes, concert ukes, or tenor ukes. It is not for baritone ukes or bass ukes. Baritones are tuned differently than those other three ukes that I mentioned. So you can still benefit from listening to this and so on, but as far as you're being able to play with us, play the same things we are, and so on, you're going to have to transpose everything, and it just won't work for you. I hate to, because I play the baritone. I love the baritone uke, but most people have got one of these three kinds of ukes. So now it'll be a good idea to have your uke with you now, because we're going to be doing stuff together with the ukes, even though you folks may be muted. So have your uke with you, have a tuner with you, and also you'll want a piece of paper and a writing implement or a tablet or something like that to take notes. Now, you folks are probably all on devices, and if that's the case, I will be drawing some things. I'll be doing some screen sharing with diagrams and that type of thing. You're more than welcome to take a screenshot of anything that I've got up on the screen, and me if you want to, so that you'll have it. But by the same token, since these are being recorded and this is being recorded, these will be available. But you're welcome to take a screenshot. Okay, our reference book is Music Theory for Ukulele. That's the name of the book, Music Theory that's it. Yeah, Barb has got it. She's holding it up right there. She's got a hard copy of it. The author is David Shipway, Shipway, David Shipway. The book is readily available on Amazon. You can buy it in paperback, in spiral bound, or in hardbound. It's also available on iBooks or on Kindle. If you live in Columbus and you're familiar with and love Stanton's music, don't try to go there to buy it, because not only don't they have it in stock, but they tried to go through and see if they could get it from their distributor, and the people they get all their music from does not carry that book, maybe because it's actually British. David Shipway is apparently English, and it was published in Britain, but it's readily available on Amazon, and it's reasonably priced. So that's going to be our reference material. And the stuff that I'm talking about is basically written out in there, but doesn't necessarily present it exactly the way I'm going to present it. So that's our source. Now, as I said, our sessions are being recorded. They will be available on YouTube with a link that John Levy will put on the Bucks, B-U-K-S, the Bucks Facebook page. And that'll give you the link to the Zoom. And each of them will be on that Zoom. It's a Bucks Zoom subscription, but you'll have the link to it, so you'll be able to get into it. Okay, now let's get down to business. The first thing, if you've got your uke, let's tune our ukes. The tuning of your uke is G-C-E-A, G-C-E-A. And I have a straight tuned uke with a low G string, but this class will be equally okay for re-entrant tuning, which is the high juice tuning. So if you've got high or low G, either one will be okay. Now, let's see, I think you're all muted. So let's all tune up now if you've got your ukes there. And I'm going to tune up also. So my G string, C string, E, A. Okay. Do you folks have ukes there? Are you going to be? I hope you're going to be playing along. Good idea. Okay. Now you're all muted right now, but I believe it's set so that you can unmute yourself. If you have a question, yeah, I heard one of you, but I think it'll be better if we're all muted. But I'll let you unmute yourself if you have a question. So if you have a question, unmute yourself. My name is Allan. So say, Allan, I have a question. And if I don't want to answer it right away, I'll say, I'll answer it in a second, something like that. But if I say something you don't understand or is unclear, you know, this I want to make this as informal as possible. So as I said, feel free to unmute yourself and just say, I've got a question, and we'll address your question. Okay, now, one thing that was always a mystery to me was how the strings on the ukulele are numbered. And somebody gave me a brilliant way to tell how the strings are numbered. And he said, the way you hold your uke, think of that as a building. What floor would be on the bottom of the building? Well, it would be the first floor. And the first string on the uke is the bottom string, which is the A string. The second string is the C string. The third string, I'm sorry, it's not the C string, it's the E string. The third string is the C string. And the fourth string is the G string, okay? So, is everybody tuned up to your satisfaction? You can shake your heads if you are, okay? You're good? Okay, now, what I want to first talk about is how the frets work. The interval between one fret and the next fret is called a half step. So here's an open C string here. When I go on the first fret, I'm going up a half step, and then up another half step, and so on. And then when I go down, I'm going down by a half step. Now, what I'd like us all to do is start with the open C string, and let's just count up all those half steps and really listen to what the sound of that half step is. Okay, ready, go. Open C, fret 1, fret 2, fret 3, fret 4, fret 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, keep your finger over that 12th fret, but take it off and then play the open string. Play the 12th fret again. Up. What you should be hearing is the same string an octave higher, okay? And that 12th fret is the octave fret. In other words, you have a whole scale between the open string and that 12th fret. Okay, now let's start on that 12th fret. Play that. Here we go. Okay, now let's go down one step, one half step at a time, all the way down together. So 12th fret, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The open string is like the 0 fret, okay? So that's the sounds of half steps. In the book, he refers to those as semitones. That's the way they refer to it in Europe and in England. We refer to them as half steps, okay? Any questions about that? Half step. Now, there's also an interval where you skip a fret. So here's the open C string. Instead of going to the first fret, if I go to the second fret, that's 2 half steps, right? And what do you think 2 half steps are going to make? A whole step. So a whole step is going from one fret, not to the fret right next to it, but skipping a fret and going up or down from that fret. So let's do some whole steps right now. Let's start with the open C chord, and let's just do a couple of whole steps. So go C, second fret, third fret, okay? Start, second fret, third fret. And then let's go back down, third fret, second fret, open string. Okay, those are whole steps. Okay, let's go down to fret number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so start in 7. You're playing the G note there. Are we all playing the same note? Shake your head if you're playing the same note I am. Okay. Okay, let's go up some whole steps from G. G, up a whole step, up a whole step, and then let's come back down again. Down a whole step, down a whole step. Okay? So now, scales are made up of half steps and whole steps. That's how you make a scale. Every scale, not pentatonic scales, not all half steps and whole steps, but just about every scale we're going to do, most of the scales you do, major scales, minor scales, and so on, are made up of either half steps or whole steps. So I will talk you through playing a C major scale on the C string, okay? And I'll tell you what to do, and then we'll do it together. So play an open C, play a whole step up, play another whole step up, play a half step up, play a whole step up. That's half of a scale. Let's try that again. So open string, whole step up, skip a fret, whole step up, half step up, whole step up. Okay, how we all together so far? Okay, now let's come down there and we just reverse that process. So we're starting on G, fret number 7. Okay, we all good there? Fret number 7, come down a whole step, down a half step, down a whole step, and down a whole step. Okay, that sound familiar? Okay, that's half of a scale. Now, let's do the other half of the scale. So let's find fret 7. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about this later, but you know, one of the things about the ukulele is, other than whether you might have some dots like I've got there, all the frets look pretty much the same. It's pretty different on a piano where you got white notes and black notes and 2 groups and 3 groups and that. A piano is laid out, very intuitively and fairly easily. A ukulele is a little bit more difficult in that respect because you have to know a little bit more. But let's finish the scale. So go down to the 7th fret, which is G. So count down the 7th fret. Let's all get there. Okay, we all there? Okay, now let's go up. Go up a whole step, go up another whole step, and go up a half step. Okay, now let's come back down. Start on C, down a half step, down a whole step, and down a whole step. Okay, that's the 2 halves of the scale. Now let's go all the way up and all the way down, and I'll call out to you what you need to do and when. Start with the open C string. Up a whole step, up another whole step, up a half step, up a whole step, up a whole step, up another whole step, up a half step. Okay, and let's go back down. Start with that C, down a half step, down a whole step, down a whole step, down another whole step, down a half step, down a whole step, down a whole step. Okay, now, you probably are saying to myself, how in the world am I possibly going to remember that? Well, I'm going to help you. I'm going to write it out for you. And again, this is something that you might want to take a screenshot of if you wish, but it'll be coming up again in other things. So I'm going to take the screen and I'm going to write that sequence of whole steps and half steps out for you in the major scale. So this is a major scale. Whoops. So you're going to start. And then the first interval is 1 whole step, another whole step, and a half step. Then 3 whole steps in a row. And a half step. Okay, now you've got that to look at. So I'll leave that up on the screen. So let's do that exercise again. I can't see you. I can't see what you're doing, but you've got it there and you can look at that. And all you have to remember is what? A whole step is you skip a fret to the next fret, going up or going down, whichever you're doing. A half step is the next door neighbor fret. Okay, so let's do that. Start with a C, open string C. Go up a whole step, another whole step. Now one of those half steps comes in here. Then 3 whole steps in a row. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And now let's start again. So start with that octave high C. Start, come down a half step, come down a whole step, come down a whole step, come down another whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. Okay? Okay, I'm going to take that off the screen now. So I'll give you about another 5 seconds to take a screenshot of that if you want to for posterity. And then I'm going to take it off the share. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now, any questions? Anything you don't understand? Anything that you want an explanation of, or anything that you want me to go over again? Anybody? Okay. If you shake your head no, then that we'll communicate like that. Okay, good. Now, Note that the major scale has 8 notes. There were 8 notes that we played right there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hence the term octave, and that's where the octave comes from. Oct is usually the refers to something 8, an octagon, that type of thing, like a stop sign. So that's where the word octave comes from. There's 8 notes in the scale, in the major scale. Okay. Now, you saw that diagram there, but then again, it's a little hard to superimpose that because there's nothing to give you a hint about that on your ukulele. So I'm going to show you a diagram, which those of you who have the book will realize is a diagram from the book, which shows you the not only the okay, right there is not only the positions of those notes on the ukulele, but it's also the names of the notes. And I will demonstrate to you there. I will write on the screen the intervals between each of those notes. So we're starting here with the open C. In other words, that circle there tells you that's an open note. We skip this fret, so that makes it a whole step. We skip and the next note is D, which we played. We skip the next fret, which makes it a whole step. The next note is E, but notice there's no, we don't skip any frets to go from E to F, and that's the half step. Okay, from F to G, we have another whole step. G to A, another whole step. A to B, another whole step. And then at the end of the scale, we have the half step where we didn't skip any frets. You see that? Okay, now, and you now know all the notes, the names of all the notes in the musical scale. It's the alphabet from A to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And when you get to G, you start over again with A, B, C, D, and that gives you the whole range of the musical scale. Now, what you want to remember is that the half steps are between E and F and between B and C. There's only 2 half steps in the scale, in the major scale, between E and F and between B and C. Okay, what I want to do now is show you a piano keyboard and show you how this works on the piano keyboard and how it dovetails with the ukulele. Now, and we'll talk about the piano a little bit later, but I'm going to stop the sharing here. And any questions now about this, about superimposing the half steps and whole steps, and also showing you the name. Now, when you're playing solos on the ukulele, you're not going to use just one string. And the purpose of this is not to teach you how to play solos. We'll get to that maybe a little bit later on when we learn scales on the ukulele as opposed to just on one string. But the reason for this is to really give you a feel for the way that keys and scales, major, minor scales, that type of thing, are made up with half steps and whole steps, because you can apply that formula to any string. And the next thing I want to do is give you an example of that. I guess the best thing for me to do is I'm going to put up that original list, although it might not be there. Okay. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to write that again, because I think that that's erased. I think that that doesn't get saved. So I'm going to put that original list up there so you can follow this, just in case you haven't memorized it. Okay. So start, pencil, start, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Got it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I want you to do is let's see how we can do this. Okay, I can't see you, so if somebody's got a question, unmute and ask me your question. I think I'll be able to hear you. What I want you to do is go up and down the scale using that right there. So start on the open C string, go up a whole step to D, whole step to E, half step to F, whole step to G, whole step to A, whole step to B, half step to C, back down, C, half step to B, whole step to A, whole step to G, whole step to F, whole step to E, whole step to D, whole step to C. Okay. If anybody, raise your hand if you had a question about that. You know how to raise your hand with the, I believe it's reaction, or you can unmute. Yes, Dave, you got a question?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. Yeah, you got unmuted. Okay. If anybody has a question, you can either raise your hand or unmute and ask me. If I don't hear any questions, I will go on. Now, I said that string number 2 is the E string. So play the E string. It's this one, string number 2. Now, what I want you to do is play an open E string, and let's follow the same pattern on the E string. So start up a whole step, up a whole step, up a half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Ah, what did you just do? You played an upward E major scale. Let's play the E major scale down. Start down a half step, down a whole step, down a whole step, down a whole step, down a half step, down a whole step, down a whole step. Okay? Anybody have any problem with that? Okay, so you just played an E major scale up and down. Now, I'm going to show you something now. I'm going to turn off the pattern. Actually, maybe I'll take a screenshot of this, so I'll have this and can get it back up for you if I need to. Okay, I'm going to take off the screenshot. Okay, now I'm going to show you what I want you to do next. What you saw was you can use that same pattern, start, whole step, half, and so on, right? On any of the strings, and you generate the scale. Now, you may not know what notes you're playing, but that's not important right now. But you're able to, you see that you generate that major scale on any of those strings using that pattern. You understand? Okay, not only can you do that, but you can generate a major scale starting on any fret, just assuming you got enough frets to go up 12 frets. So I'm going to demonstrate that on the C string. This happens to be a D right here. So I'm going to do it so you can see it. Start, up a step, up a whole step, up a half step, up a whole step, up a whole step, up a whole step, up a half step. You see, you can't, you don't have to just do this on the open strings. You can do it. Now let's go down. You're up there. Are we all together on that? That's actually a D up there. Are we on the same note? Okay, so start on the D, down a half step, down a whole step, another whole step, another whole step, a half step, a whole step, and a whole step. Okay. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. You're not going to be playing any songs thinking half step, whole step, and that type of thing. But this type of thing is going to come in handy when we talk about chord progressions and chord patterns, about chords in the 8 notes of the scale, and about chords in other keys other than like the key of C, which is an easy key to C. That's going to come in handy a lot. So keep that in mind. We'll review that whenever we have to, but it's a fairly easy pattern. Start, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Okay? So you see, it's 2 going up the scale, start two whole steps and a half step, and then three whole steps and a half step, and then coming down is the opposite of that. You'll use that later. And I learned this technique, and I've never been really good. I mean, I've had all kinds of music theory. I took music theory when I was a kid at the Cleveland Institute of Music, and I've got a BA in music from Ohio State. I've had a lot of theory, but I've never really bothered to memorize four sharps is this key, three flats is this key, this type of thing. I always figure, I can figure it out, and if I need it, I can do that, and so on. And using this half steps and whole steps will help you in the future figure out what the sharps or flats are in any of the 12 keys. And it's a big help, because if you don't have a book, if you just have a piece of paper and you want to, let's say you're arranging something for the ukulele and you've got it in the key of C and you want to do it in the key of A major, because there's people with other instruments and there's people that have got the music and so on. You want to transpose it to A major. What are the sharps and flats in A major? How do you transpose it to A major? Well, you don't have a theory book. You don't have, but you can sit and figure it out using this. And when we get into keys, and we'll show you how to do it using this. This is very valuable. And I didn't learn this until after I retired and took some more music classes, how to figure this out. But anyway, it's going to be valuable for you in building chords also. Now, okay, we talked about the piano, and I want to show you this on the piano because it's really very logical on the piano and very easy to see on the piano. And here is a picture of a piano keyboard. Okay, now, for those of you that don't know the keyboard on a piano, this is C right here. Oops, I got to turn the pencil on. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay. Now, on our uke, we use the open string, which I'll say O, for a C, correct? Then we went up a whole step and we skipped a fret to D, and we played D on the second fret of our uke, didn't we? Okay, this black key here, you don't know what that is right now. Maybe you do, but let's assume you don't. We skip that key, whatever it is, just like we skipped the fret on the uke. Okay, so we're on D. We went up a whole step to E, correct? And we skipped this note, whatever it is, and got to E. And that was on our fourth fret because we skipped fret number 3. Now, we said there's a half step between E and F and C on the piano. They're right next to each other. There's no note in between E and F on the piano, is there? But we went up a whole step to G and skipped that fret. So F would be fret number 5. This would be fret 6 we're skipping. So the G would be fret number 7. Remember, we counted up 7 frets to get to G. Okay, then we went up a whole step. So we skipped this note, we skipped that fret, and A would be fret 9. And then we went up another whole step, skipping this note, and got to B, and that would be fret 11. And here we are on fret 12 at our C. And that's the way this looks on the piano. You see how nice and logical it is, at least the key of C on the piano, and how that corresponds to the frets on the uke. But it's the same pattern of whole steps and half steps on whatever instrument it is that you're playing, however they do whole steps and half steps. And of course, all the instruments do differently. Okay. Now, I'll leave that up. If you want to memorialize that with a screenshot, you're more than welcome to also. But I'm going to take it off in about 5 seconds, unless somebody unmutes and says, hold on, I'm not ready. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here we are. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is bring back up the fretboard picture. And I want us to play some songs using some of these intervals and using some of these ideas, some fairly simple songs. Um, uh, I teach piano and I teach Suzuki piano. And so the kids, a lot of times when they're beginning, start out with some of these nursery rhyme type songs. And one of them is Mary Had a Little Lamb. And we're going to start out with that. But just in case you don't have all on the C string, you don't have all the positions of all the notes memorized, I'm going to put that diagram back up on the screen share so you can see that diagram, see where the notes are. We're not going to, there we go. We're not going to be doing any of the other notes. Okay, so here's the diagram. Oop. Okay, you got the diagram there. Okay, now let's start out with Mary Had a Little Lamb, and that starts on E. And as you can see from that diagram, E is the fourth fret on the ukulele. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I'll play it and then we'll talk about it. Okay, it starts on E, goes down to D a whole step, down to C a whole step, and back up. And then there are 3 E's. Okay, so let's do that together now. 1, 2, ready, go. E, D, C, D, E, 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 down to D, 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 E. Now we're going to skip up. This is not a whole step or a half step. We're going to skip up to the 7th fret G. And you probably have a dot on your ukulele on that 7th fret. So let's try just that much again. Okay, start on the E, E, D, C, D, E, 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 D, 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 E, up to G, G. And then the second half goes a lot like the first half. E, D, C, D, E, 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 D, D, E, D, C. Other than the skip to G, which is neither a half step nor a whole step, other than that skip, that was all whole steps, wasn't it? Okay, let's try that one more time. Okay, start on E, D, C, D, E, 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 D, 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 E, G, G, E, D, C, D, E, 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 D, D, E, D, C. Okay. Now, anybody have any trouble with that? That's all whole steps. Okay. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do this week is to listen to these, work on these, and see if you can sing them to yourself without doing it on the uke, and identify whether a step is one of the 3 things. Well, actually, music, melodies are made up of 4 things, either whole steps or half steps, skips, or repeated notes. That's everything. Every melody in the whole world is made up of one of those 4 things. And it's really only 3. So it's a step, either a half step or a whole step, a skip, not a half step or a whole step, something bigger, or playing the same note again. So that's every melody in the entire world. So you've done all those now, other than the half step in Mary Had a Little Lamb. You had a skip up to G, and you had a whole bunch of whole steps, correct? Okay. Now, let's try Frere Jacques. Okay. Now, I'm going to put the diagram back up on the board so you can have this of the fretboard. Okay, and here it is. Okay, so Frere Jacques starts on C, open C. So C, D, E, open C, and then again. Okay, let's do that together. 1, 2, ready, go. C, D, E, C, C, D, E, C. Okay, now we're going to have a half step here because the next part of the song goes E, F, G, E, F, G. So E is fret number 4. Okay, so it's E, half step up to F, whole step up to G. So, okay, let's do that together. Ready? We'll start with the E. Ready, go. E, F, G, E, F, G. Okay, now let's do the whole thing up to that point. So 1, 2, ready, go. C, D, E, D, C, D, E, C, E, F, G, E, F, G. Okay, now what happens? So what is that? G, up a whole step to A, back to G, down to F, down to your half step to E, C. So everybody get on the 7th fret and let's play the G together. Okay. Any question? Dave, do you have a question? You're not
I
muted.
can't follow you on this.
Are you on the chart?
Yeah, I'm on the chart. I can read your chart, but I just can't stay along with you as you're going along with it.
Okay. Am I going too fast?
Well, for me, yes, but I
Okay.
just I understand what you're
Okay.
saying, but it's just I'm my coordination and my visual are not coordinating very well.
Okay. Well, I'll do it a little bit slower. Did you have any problem with the other with Mary Had a Little Lamb?
Yes.
Okay, well, this is going to be available, and I'll go a little bit slower on this right now. But one thing that I want you folks to do this week is to practice these songs and to not with the idea of going and performing at Carnegie Hall, but with the idea of really getting the feel for whole steps and half steps, what they sound like. Because when you are listening to a song, it's got one of those things in it, either a whole step, a half step, a skip, or a repeated note. And so we'll talk about the skips later on, but the whole steps and half songs are very much made up of whole steps and half steps. And if you can recognize them, you're halfway home there. So, okay, let's start where we were with anybody else having any difficulty. Thank you, Dave, for pointing that out. Okay, so
Okay.
we'll go slow. G, A, G, F, E, and then skip down to C. So, and then that repeats. G, A, G, F, E, C. C. Now I'm going to cheat. I'm going to play my G string because my G string is lower. If you have a re-entrant uke, yours will sound, and that's okay. The world won't come to an end. Okay, so let's try that again. Let's get on the 7th fret with G. G, A, G, whole step down to F, half step to E, and then skip down to a C. G, A, G, F, E, C, and then C down to your G string, C, C. Okay? Okay, now I want to take us a little bit further on the scale. And I told you that I teach piano and we give group lessons with my piano studio. And we were talking about songs and rounds and that type of thing. And we sang a couple like Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And then I said, okay, let's all sing Three Blind Mice. And every adult in the room gasped. I didn't realize what a faux pas I had just made because kids these days in school don't learn Three Blind Mice. Number one, it's disrespectful to disability, but it's also cruel to animals as far as what happens to the mice. And they have removed this from their repertoire. However, and so we didn't sing it there, but we are going to learn Three Blind Mice. And you don't have to teach it to your kids if you don't want to. Nobody will be offended. But let's do Three Blind Mice, and then we'll move on. Okay, so Three Blind Mice starts on E. So E is fret number 4. And I don't have the chart up now. Let's see if we can do it without the chart. Fret number 4 is E. A whole step down. Okay, and then okay, then we go up to G. Whole step down to F. Half step down to E. Remember that half step between E and F? G. Half step. Okay, let's do that much. Ready, go. C. E, D, C. E, D, 4th fret. Now up to the 7th fret. Whole step down, half step down. 7th fret. Whole step down, half step down. Now we're going to do one of these skips. So go back to the G. Now go all the way up to the 12th fret. That's the C. So let's get that interval right there. 7th fret, skip up to the 12th fret. We all good there? The G to C? Okay? Okay, so let's get up there. G, C, C, half step to B, whole step to A, whole step to B, half step to C. And then 2 Gs. Let's try that again. C, down to half step, B, whole step to A, whole step to B, half step to C, down to the G. One more time. C, C, half step to B, whole step to A, whole step to B, half step to C, G, G, whole step down to F, half step to E, whole step to D, whole step to C. Okay. Now, Dave, did it help when I told you half steps and whole steps?
Well, I just can't keep up with you when you're doing that, and I don't have the positions memorized as you do, so I can't stay with you.
Okay.
So
Well,
I'll
look,
have to.
you can watch the video, okay, and also you can. I mean, I want to tell you something now, and that is in your head. If you can tell the difference between a half step and a whole step in your head, that'll really help you. And I want to give you a way that I find very easy to differentiate between a half step and a whole step. To me, a whole step sounds like I'm beginning to do a scale. Listen. And then I sort of hear da, 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 right? That sounds like you're beginning a scale, okay? So now, to me, a half step sounds like you're ending a scale. And here's a half step. Here, the B to C is a half step. The E to F is a half step. Okay. Now, Dave, do you hear the difference? The interval sounding like you're starting a scale, and the interval sounding like you're ending a scale.
I can't hear when you are playing at all what you're playing on the ukulele. I can understand what you're doing, but half steps and whole steps, but I can't hear it on when you're playing. I can hear it when I play on my own, but like I say, I can't keep up with you when you're at this point.
Okay, well, you folks might have your own mnemonics for remembering what's a half step and what's a whole step, but once you can do that, it'll really help you. and again, it took me some practice also. I mean, it's not something that I look, if you could do it with just one lesson, you wouldn't need teachers. I mean, you could read it, you listen, yeah, on a video. So it will take some practice, but don't get frustrated about it, because the next class will be in 2 weeks. So you can sit with your uke and just think of whole steps and half steps. I hope you took a screenshot. If you didn't, it wrote down that start, whole step. In other words, that scale right there, and that you can apply that. And then did you take screenshots of those things? The ukulele.
I wrote them down for myself.
Okay. I suggest you
It's
buy
all
the
in
book.
the book, Allan.
Yeah, those diagrams are in the book, right?
Right.
So if you buy the book, I think that can help. Okay. Now, I want to give you guys an assignment to figure out how to play London Bridge. Now, I will give you a hint on the C string in the key of C. So don't worry about anything else other than the key of C. London Bridge. Figure it out. It starts on G. I'll tell you that much. Okay. And if you're with us in 2 weeks, I think the next class will probably be around May 20th at 7:00. That's what I'm planning on right now. But again, you can see it on video if you miss the class. But I'm going to see if anybody has figured out London Bridge, or if you had any problems with that. Okay. Now, in the last few minutes, by the way, does anybody have? Do any of you have pianos that are available to you? A piano? Okay, George, I see you do. Dave, you don't?
No. No.
Okay. Now, those of you that don't have pianos, do you have Apple devices, iPhones or iPad or a Mac computer? Do you have that? Apple devices? No, you don't?
No.
Okay.
No, I have an Android.
Okay. Now, if you have an Apple device, you have GarageBand, and GarageBand has a keyboard application in GarageBand. And if you need some help getting into it, I can help you at the end of a class get into GarageBand and see how to use the keyboard in there. Because even though, as I said, this is not a piano class, but there's going to be some things that you learn in this class that will be helpful. You don't have to actually have a piano or even an electric keyboard. You can do it on the iPad. You can even do it on your iPhone. You can do chords and build chords and see what you're doing on the iPhone. So you can do that. Now, Dave, if does anybody else have an Android device? Okay, Georgia, you do, because
You can.
what were you going to say, Georgia?
There are. I don't have the names of them off the top of my head, but if you go to the Play Store on an Android, there are several apps that are little keyboard apps that you can download.
Okay. Okay.
And you can use those just like you would on an iPad or something. There's plenty available.
Like GarageBand then, right?
Yeah, it would be very similar, or it's just a very similar keyboard that you can touch your screen and play like a piano.
Well, can you play chords on those, Georgia?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, because on GarageBand you can play chords.
Okay.
You can play them, as a triad. You can
Triad.
play notes of a triad.
I wouldn't swear to it on, but you can at least play the notes.
Now, Dave, the other thing is that even though it's not on the Play Store, GarageBand can be downloaded onto Android devices. And if you want to do that, if you don't find a keyboard on the Play Store, like George is talking about, I can give you instructions on how to download GarageBand and you'll have exactly the same GarageBand that we do. So now, does everybody else have? Go ahead.
What's it called? GarageBand?
GarageBand, like people playing in a garage. Garage, GARAGE.
Oh, GarageBand. Okay.
Band, BAND. But as I said,
Okay.
you can Google it, but I can send you instructions on how to download GarageBand onto your Android device.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I want to talk about a couple things in the book. On page 5 in the book, there's a statement: there is no sharp or flat note in between B and C or in between E and F. We saw on the piano, that's correct, isn't it? There's no black note between E and F. There's no black note between B and C. So that is a true statement, is it not? Okay, we're all in agreement. Now, he makes another statement a little later on that page. He says, there is no B sharp or C flat. There is no E sharp or F flat. That is not true. I see you're shaking your head, Jen. Correct. That is not true. So whatever you want to do, but if you go to anybody who knows anything about music and you say, there is no E sharp, that person will think you don't know what you're talking about, because there are contexts where C flats, E sharps come in, and we will learn about those a little bit later, I promise you. But right now, it's beyond what we're doing now, okay? But I just don't want you to read that and take that as verbatim. Okay, now, does anybody not know how to find notes on the piano or on a keyboard with sharps and flats with the black notes? Does anybody? I can. Is anybody iffy on that? Not sure about that? Any of you? I don't see any heads indicating. So you're all good with that? So if I say play a C or a D or a F on the piano, you know where that is on the piano? Okay, okay. Dave, do you?
No, I don't have a piano, and I've never had piano lessons, so I wouldn't be able to find that.
Okay, well, when you get a keyboard, either GarageBand or a keyboard that you can use, and look, don't pay a lot of money for it. As a matter of fact, I believe GarageBand may be free. Now, if you want all the bells and whistles and all the tooting things and that, you pay for that for GarageBand. But I think the basic thing, which is all I have and all you need, I think is free. And I think that even downloading it on an Android is free. So when you get that, Dave, I can show you in 5 minutes how to find every note on a piano. I've taught
Okay.
3 how to do it, and they learn it in about 10 minutes and know it for the rest of their lives. So it's really simple, and I can show you a very good way to do it. And anybody else that's not sure, I'll be happy to do that for you too. Okay, well, we've had just about an hour now. So basically what we're trying to do is to show that scales are made up of half steps and whole steps. And hopefully the more that you do that and the more that you play these things, you'll be listening. And if I play an interval of either a half step or a whole step on the ukulele, you'll be able to recognize that as a half step or a whole step, okay? Because that's really very valuable. As we get more advanced and you get more comfortable with half steps and whole steps, every other interval in the musical realm is made up of either half steps or whole steps. So, we can talk about that and we'll have a common terminology, but get comfortable with that in the next couple of weeks. Play Mary Had a Little Lamb, Three Blind Mice, London Bridge, which I haven't shown you. Play Frere Jacques. And if you think of a song, a simple song that you like I said, what's the da 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 no I can't think. Barbara, you know the song. You end with the song da da da. You and I used to sing it together. You take one verse and I take. What am I thinking of? Dear, do you know?
Row, row, row your
You are
boat?
You Are My Sunshine.
Oh, You Are My Sunshine.
You Are My Sunshine is, you can play that in the key of C. So pick that out on the U. I don't think there's any sharps or flats. Okay. We'll talk about some more stuff next time. I think that we've got a lot of interesting things to talk about. I don't want to take any more of your time, but the whole idea with this, by the way, this covers the chapters 1, 2, and 3 in the Shipway book. Okay, so you can read those over. You'll see some of the diagrams that I put up here now. So you can read those 3 chapters over, and we'll probably be talking as much as we can about chapters 4, 5, and 6 next week, but we'll be building on what we've done here. And I'll give you some other information about pitch and tone and generation of pitches and, you know, how we do that, some of the physics involved with that. But I am at Plain City. Okay, Barb, you can watch it on YouTube, okay? We'll be recording it next week too, and you can watch it on YouTube. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
I have a
okay.
question, Alan. That's
Yeah.
me, Laurie.
Yeah.
The next lesson is when? Next week or 2
Well, I'm
weeks?
planning 2 weeks,
2 weeks.
May 20th.
Okay,
And there's some people that can't make it. And if you can't make it, it'll be on video. You won't be able to ask questions, but
Sure.
you know, hopefully your question will have been asked by another member of the group.
okay. And you had mentioned a Facebook page.
Yes.
What is the name of the Facebook page?
John, can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Lori, are you part of the Buckeye Ukulele Society?
I don't think so.
Tell you what, give me a second and I'll let me find it.
Well, I think Barb can help me get on it. Barb, are you on it? Okay, Barb will help me get on it.
Yeah. Oh, Barb Schwartz.
Barb Schwartz, yeah.
Barb Roth Davis is also on it, right? Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, Barb, if you can get Lori onto the Buckeye Ukulele Society page, that'd be great. And particularly the Facebook group. It's called Buckeye Ukulele Society Members.
Do you allow Penn State people on there?
Yeah, we'll allow you in.
Reluctant.
Okay.
And yeah, and so I'm gonna post a link to the videos there.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
so
Yeah.
so that's our main page, but also join that, but also look for Buckeye Ukulele Society Members, which is a group associated with the page.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions? I hope I see you again in on May 20th at 7 o'clock. And again, if we're not in person, then you're welcome to pick up the link to the YouTube video of this session or that session or this session. Okay. Hey, thank you very much for your interest. And if there's things that you don't understand, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay. And Dave, I thank you for that. And again, if you have questions after you see the video, are you going to buy the book? I suggest you buy the book.
Yeah, I'll have to try and see if I can find it.
Okay. Well, as I said, the name of it is, what did I say? Music Theory for Ukulele. Let's see. Yeah, Music Theory for Ukulele, David Shipway.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, she's holding it up there. Barb is holding it up. Barb, are you off? Barb Schwartz, are you off mute now?
She can't get off. We'll figure it out for next time.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, again,
Thanks, Alan.
oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you all very much. And I hope I see you in a couple of weeks. Bye now.
Okay. Bye, Alan. Thank you.
Bye.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Good job,
Bye.
Alan.
Thanks.
Thank you.